man that is greater than ordinary.
To for all year round farming, and Naseni was invited to present their battery-backed solar-powered irrigation pumps to Council. This actually aligns with national priorities of Mr. President to support expanded dry season cultivation. Presently, the current status is that infrastructure across Naseni platforms can produce anywhere between 90,000 to 100,000 solar-operated and battery-backed solar pumps a month. So what Naseni has demonstrated and presented to Council is that they are ready to mass produce and distribute in time for the 2025 dry season farming. Funding is now in the final step to unlock national rollout. These pumps, as you can see, they're out there. After the meeting where Naseni demonstrated, they are supposed to replace fuel-driven, petrol-powered systems and lower energy costs for farmers, improve irrigation access in off-grid areas, reinforce Nigeria's food security strategy. Residual storage of energy within the battery also allows this pump to even operate after sunset. So even at night, it can actually pump water for at least 4 to 5 hours. Council's resolution after Naseni's presentation and also demonstration says that the Council should adequately notify Mr. President about Council's recommendation and the need to provide funding for Naseni to scale up the production so that we can meet the next 2025-2026 dry season farming. In addition, Council also mandated the Honorable Minister of Budget and Economic Planning to work out the modalities for the increase of funding to Naseni. Thank you. If I miss any questions, maybe just indicate. But let me just talk about fertilizer costs and what has happened. In terms of, I know my big brother, the Honorable Minister of Budget, is very well conversant with the PFI 1.0, which is the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative that was established way back in 2015, 2016. And we are at a point where we are now handling the PFI 3.0, not we as ministry, but the government. Over time, yes, the import was to liberalize the fertilizer industry. And that's why even within the last administration, we saw the rise of blending plants from about 4 or 5 in just a matter of few years to about 90 today. Fertilizer, the most used fertilizer is NPK, out of which the component of FK, there are 4 main components of NPK. One is phosphate, one is potash, one is urea, and the other one is a filler. Potash and phosphates are imported. These are the main components of fertilizer are imported. Urea is what has been mentioned, that the Honorable Minister of State Gas is supposed to get in touch with the 3 main manufacturers of urea, which is Dangote, Indorama, and Notore, because urea is made out of gas. It's 95% gas, natural gas that we have here available in the country. So, and there was an agreement that they should supply 30% because the prices of gas that were given to these companies are at a concessionary price. So they should supply 30% local to satisfy local demand. So, of course, you would see the imbalance in terms of structural issues in terms of imports and logistics. And you also recall, for the first time in 12 years, in this country, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu last year gave out 2,150,000 bags of fertilizer free of charge to farmers. Yeah, there are questions sometimes people will say, and the half of it were even given to states. And some may say, I have not received it, but it went to the market, it went to the farmers, it went to the soil. Fertilizer cannot be eaten or cannot be done anything else but to grow. And you also agree with me that last year we had a net positive harvest, which meant we had a positive harvest of much more than any other previous years in the last 5 years, what we had. And that's one of the reasons why prices are crashing and also are stabilizing. So the question here is whether the intended policies of Mr. President, amongst other mixed strategies to bring down prices of food, yes, we could see the trajectory, we could see where we're heading to. It was much more lower than even 2023, even 2024 December. And for the first time, you would also agree with me, even look at the tomato lean season. The lean season of tomato, May and June, prices have not gone up. Prices have stabilized. So what we're saying here is that when you look at the trajectory, I think we should give kudos to Mr. President and commend the actions and the strategies that Mr. President had developed. Yes, there are security issues, but you also admit, we know that we have on the armed forces have unlocked a lot of potential areas, Birningwari axis, in fact, a lot of places, even in Katsina, Funtua area, and so on and so forth. Excellency Borno State can testify. We have not seen the kind of harvest we saw last year in a very long time. So what we see is the unlocking of a lot of agricultural lands due to security efforts. The prices of fertilizer, when you say they're exorbitant, when you look at in real terms, not in nominal terms, yes, we know, and I keep saying at all times, we are at a point where Mr. President we have to balance the welfare of the citizens in terms of lower food prices as against the welfare of the farmers, and so as not to discourage farmers because of high prices of inputs like fertilizer and and also the solar pumps that we're talking about, because for dry season farming, irrigation is an input. So that is one way of the liberalization. I don't want to go further until the concept of the liberalization is completely out, but there's a move to liberalize the market of the fertilizer. You had mentioned, I think Steve from Punch, about the tractors. We have basically 4 mechanization programs: the Belarus 2,000 tractors, the John Deere 2,000, the Green Imperative program with Brazil, and the Greener Hope mechanization program. So the Belarus tractors all completed, everything is on ground. And when it was commissioned a couple of months ago, land preparation had already passed. So it's now that we're going to face the dry season that the distribution will take place. The John Deere has not been initiated yet, but it's in the works. The Green Imperative with the Brazil, you are aware that it's on the table of discussion at all the 3 times Mr. President had been to Brazil, and it's in the final stages of, we have signed the MOUs and the agreements. So affordability of solar pumps. Of course, solar pumps, although technology of solar panels is constantly coming down and prices are also coming down, but the initial cost is high. But you could just imagine if, for instance, part of the memo and presentation His Excellency the Governor of Jigawa State had presented today to Council, is that for you to even service 1 hectare, to irrigate 1 hectare of wheat farm, you would spend over 500,000 naira in petrol cost. That is an added cost to the cost of production. So, but once you see, when you have a solar-driven, battery-backed, solar-driven water pump, over a period of time, costs would now reduce. And also, these pumps are also, climate, yes, they're climate change compliance, and they derive carbon credit on that. So over a period of time, you derive carbon credit, and which will further reduce the cost of operation and cost of those solar pumps. So this is I think, but what we are looking at far exceeds the production capacity of Naseni, and that's why it is, this council had mandated the Honorable Minister of Budget to come up with modalities and see how we can fund Naseni. And then it's a joint collaboration between the subnationals and the federal government. So, but at the end of the day, it's going to be to the benefit of our active and hardworking farmers across the country. Thank you.
Presidential Food System Coordinating Committee, I was given a mandate to see how we can ramp up local production and improve agriculture. So the committee is seeking that, okay, part of the mandate should be to how we can liberalize the fertilizer regime. And the issue of liberalization, like the Honorable Minister has started saying, is a concept that the committee is supposed to come up with a framework on how to do that, meaning that opening the door, bringing in more players into the production of fertilizer, and through either giving incentives or so many. So the framework will come up, and that will show that by the time, it's a concept of demand and supply. The more players are in, it becomes more competitive, and therefore the likelihood of dropping the price of fertilizer is likely to happen. So that's exactly the concept we are asking for the mandate to be given to the Presidential Food Implementation Committee. Again, the cost of energy. This cost of energy came as a result of the various reforms implemented by the government, which have a positive result. And so based on that, there's also need, what can we do as an alternative to reduce the cost of energy? Like he said, from the analysis we have done in Jigawa today, for you to cultivate 1 hectare of land of rice, you need to spend almost 2,100,000 just for 1 hectare. And that means, and the revenue that will come from that hectare is about only 1,800,000. So meaning that a farmer will lose almost 300 and something. That means even if he is getting 4 tons per hectare, where the farmer is getting only 3 tons per hectare, the loss will increase almost 750,000. So you see, that is not economical, and it's also disincentive for people to go into farming. So because of that, you need, and this energy cost alone is almost more than 40% of the total cost of production. So if you add energy and fertilizer costs, you are getting almost 75% of the total cost of production. So intervention in these areas are very, very necessary to ensure that farmers make income in their farming. So that's exactly the decision the council have taken, and then I'm sure by the time this decision is implemented, certainly the farmers will be happy, and then they will be the winners of this. The other issue raised, how do fertilizer reach to the intended target? You see, this is issues. Now, because the distribution of fertilizer, I can give you a case of Jigawa State. For the last 2 years in Jigawa, we have a standing committee that takes the fertilizer directly up to the polling unit level. You know, the essence of that is, not everybody can afford to buy 1 bag, not everybody can afford 2 bags. A farmer, what he needs, sometimes maybe 2 mood, 3 mood, 4 mood, because you don't need 1 bag of fertilizer. So by the time we take this to the hinterland, A farmer can, 2-3 farmers can put their money together and buy one bag and then distribute it within themselves. So that's exactly, we have a standing committee that ensures that this goes directly to the farmer. And this standing committee is working. And as of today, if you go to Jigawa, people are always happy that this commodity is reaching them. And I'm sure all my colleagues in the state are doing this practice. So really the fertilizer is going down. Of course, there may be some exception, but a majority, there is a fact that this fertilizer is reaching down to the intended target. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.Mgbeke. An ad hoc committee on flooding. Terms of references of this committee include to examine or collate the extent of damage done by the flooding in our respective states and come up with solutions, of which the NEC has so far so good received the report, and states have received support from the federal government. While today's presentation that was made by the NEC is about establishing an anticipatory framework on flooding areas that will look into the possibility of providing immediate humanitarian support to the victims in terms of cash assistance and then in terms of providing other incentives. Above all, issues of early warning systems are also there. So I think the two bodies have a very different and distinct objectives, and I think the objectives cannot cross each other. This was actually what was discussed today. And I believe with the resolution of the council, the body in our next council's meeting will be given a go-ahead, the committee to establish this body that will address flooding issues, especially in the areas of providing humanitarian support, medium, shorter term solutions, while the NEC committee has also resolved that medium and longer term sustainable solutions that will ensure prevention of the flooding will also be looked into. Thank you very much.